Hi there and welcome to Chalk Session. I am your host, Brian Griffiths. This is the show here at the Duck Pin where we analyze and review and critique political campaign ads. So join us on this week's show. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and let's take a look at this week's ad. Our video on this week's Chalk Session is from the Steven Strawn for Mayor campaign. He is running for Mayor of Annapolis. It is the Republican nominee in the election that's coming up in a couple of weeks. And as you can see, it's a 2-minute and 42-second video. So let's go ahead and take a look at You Deserve Better, because you deserve better. Excuse me.
911, what's your emergency?
It's wild because I actually used that same sound effect for a video that I made, that popping sound effect, that same concept for a video I used for myself when I ran for the Republican Central Committee back in 2006. Now, of course, that was before YouTube. It was realistically, it was way before its time. But it's just funny that same sound effect and same kind of plan comes into effect there with those headlines popping on the screen.
Many of you tell me that you won't leave your homes at night, that people have been accosted while walking their pets in broad daylight.
The sound is way off here. It is not. You can tell that no external microphones were used in the creation of this ad.
Businesses have altered their business hours for what? Crime. That non-existent entity, that false reality.
Nice cutscene, though.
Administration tells you doesn't exist or is so rare it's a non-factor. That Annapolis is safe, which may be true in certain.
And this is some of the problems with external mics, and you can tell right now that they don't have a windscreen on it. Is the fact that you can hear the audio through the audio. You can hear the wind in the background. When you can see the flags waving in the background a little bit, so you can actually hear the wind as it's coming through. Now that's if Steven was wearing a lavalier mic or something like that, had some sort of connection in some manner to external sound, and there are ways to do that. The sound quality would be much better.
But not for long. If we admit we have a problem, we can stem the tide.
Also, I'm reasonably certain this is being filmed on a cell phone, just because of the way the picture is and is not stabilizing.
Take back our streets. As mayor, I pledge to fully staff our police department, address open-air drug dealing.
And it's two different phones, too, because you can hear the two different sound qualities. They cut back and forth from the head-on angle to like the 45-degree side angle.
And make safety a priority for all. Monica?
Thanks, Stephen. I'm standing outside.
And now we throw it to Monica Manthe, who's a candidate for alderwoman in Ward 5. And it's kind of a weird, unnatural cut, but it's an interesting way to bring her into the picture.
Parkside Preserve at Quiet Waters. And as you can see, the trail is closed. It's been closed all summer. We don't know when or if it's going to reopen again, but this has caused excess runoff of water, poorly managed, clearing of trees, and a highway through the wood for residents. We can do a better job of balancing preservation and development in the city of Annapolis.
A much better clip with her just being head on, very clear and concise. You don't have the wind background. I think this was still cell phone video or something similar, but it's a much better presentation.
Actually, 90% of the city is developed.
Cut just as I
that only
about
leaves
it.
less than 10% of those green areas and recreation areas that you and your family have come to enjoy. We will do better. Balancing preservation and development. We will do better. George?
Now we flip over to George Gallagher. And again, he is running for alderman. But again, we've now cut to another camera, another style of video. None of the video has been filtered here.
Why is change needed at Annapolis City Hall? In less than 4 years, the current city council has presided over a city budget that has ballooned to $152 million, an increase of 43%, a massive blow to bureaucracy.
The camera's moving too. The camera is not stationary. It's not on a tripod or anything like that. George is moving back and forth here, but so is the camera. If you look at the State House in the background, you can see it kind of meanders a little bit.
That has grown 25%. They've increased all permit fees, as much as 500.
He kind of stumbled there, and if I was doing this shoot, I would have cut the film there and had him start over.
136%. Taxes have increased 3 times. To add insult to injury, this city council has awarded themselves a 31% pay increase. If you want to get involved to affect change, to reduce taxes, regulations, and a bloated city government, to create a business-friendly city government that respects the taxpayers, come and support our candidates.
Now, this is a cool visual here, kind of having George walk directly from in front of the State House to near the Thurgood Marshall Memorial on Lawyers Mall, and having all of these folks here who are have their campaign signs here. The real question is, where's Rock Toes? Where's Scott Gibson? They're both other Republicans that are running for alderman as well. I'm confused as to why they are not in this shot as well.
We're running because you deserve to feel safe.
You deserve responsible development.
Again, there was kind of a pause there. I would have cut the video, and that's the problem when you have kind of these one-shot scenes like this. Because this scene has been going on for about 55 seconds or so. Is that you had George walk over, and then when Monica kind of trips up her line, you either got to make a choice. You either have to go and start all over again or keep it in there. I'm guessing they decided to go ahead and keep it in there. We also got some tourists in the background too. It's probably not necessarily what you want to see.
You deserve to have your money spent wisely.
And we deserve better.
And this is the wild part too. We go straight from the obviously cell phone footage to now we have some pretty cool drone footage here. And the drone footage is much higher quality than what we see in the rest of the video. And flying over the State House here up to the dome, seeing the entire city of Annapolis, that part is really really cool. Let's come back after this short break and we will do a little more analysis. So let's go ahead now and let's review this ad from Steven Strawn for mayor. It was actually produced by the Annapolis Republican Central Committee. So I want to make that clear. The authority line at the end said that. It does appear on Steven Strawn's page, but the Annapolis Republican Central Committee went ahead and paid for that. So that's what makes even some more of these things a little bit confusing. But let's start with the positives. It's creative. The idea of having a video where multiple candidates get involved and throw it from one to the other is creative. We don't see that often at the local level. And I think it's a really good way to incorporate those candidates and their perspective. So I think that's a very nice touch. Having the local connection is the second way I really enjoy this ad. You have a nice local connection. You've got Steven Strawn on the streets. You've got Melanie. You got her over at Quiet Waters. You've got George Gallagher at the State House, and then that cut into the group scene is a very nice one-shot cut. And the end with the drone overlooking the State House and the city of Annapolis. That's just such a cool shot. You don't see often that a local campaign, a local candidate has the opportunity to incorporate a drone into their advertising. So I think that's a very, very cool thing they were able to do. There were some parts of this, however, that did leave me a little unfulfilled. The sound quality being first among them. The lack of windscreens, the lack of professional microphones is clear here, and I think when you hear the wind in the background, particularly in the first part with Steven Strawn, it really takes away a little bit from the ad. So that's unfortunate. The second is the video quality. As part of that issue with the audio quality, you can see the jump cuts where you go from one phone to the other, and you can see the change and the degradation in quality or the improvement in quality. And then you have another thing come into play when you have the drone shot. You go from a cell phone shot of decent quality to a really sharp drone photo or drone video there at the end. And you can even see that the frame rate's different there too. So I think that took you out of the moment a little bit. 3, the couple of times the candidates misspoke, and like I said, I would have cut and reshot the scene. Wasn't my call. So that was an interesting decision to not cut. I don't know if they were limited on time or what, but you notice though that the that the first two parts were filmed on different days. The candidates are wearing different clothes and are in different locations. So it's interesting why they chose not to go ahead and reshoot those. And the last thing is, where is everybody else? There are at least two candidates for aldermen were not even in this video. And the fact that it was done by the Annapolis Republican Central Committee makes it even all the more confusing why they were not in here, were not mentioned in this video. All in all, I think the video does need improvement, but I think it's good, especially for what it is and the bankroll, the resources that are available to these candidates. I give this ad a B.
That's all the time we have on this episode of Chalk Session. Again, be sure to follow us on social media. And if you have an ad that you want us to analyze in one of these Chalk Session videos, please feel free to email us at theduckpin@gmail.com. For all of us here at the Duck Pin, thanks, and we'll see you next time.